to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I can use just a little help. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Hey there friends, how's it going today? David Potts here with Song Notes. Today I'm going to show you how to play Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springsteen. I'll start with the Campfire version, level up a little bit with some of the rhythm, some of the chords, into a bit of an intermediate version, and I'll end with a tease of the vocal melody. You learn this and then you can use what I show in part 2 over on my website, which shows you how to strum and play the melody notes at the same time. It's amazingly fun, but let's dive on in and have some fun with this one. So if we look at the verse of this song, right? The simplest way to play it, right? We're going to be capo 4th fret, and let's just play along with Bruce using our key of G chord family, okay? Now, G and E minor are what we're going to use for about half of this song, if you play it the simplest possible way. So we have to play our G chord and our E minor chord. Now, you have a bunch of options as far as how you do this, and I have these written up in my practice notes. Basically, any G you do, whether it's with your ring finger down here, or if you use your middle finger, right? Or if you want to sort of mute that 5th string and just sort of do this 2-finger version of G, this will work also, right? However you do your E minor, whether it's index and middle or middle and ring, it doesn't really matter. I'll also talk about in the intermediate version how you can go from this G to this G add 6, which is effectively just the same notes as E minor, really. You're just changing the bass note. If you listen to Bruce, he keeps the G bass note going the whole time. But let's keep it simple, right? G, I get up in the evening, E minor, right? G, and I E minor, got nothing to say. G, home in the E minor, morning. G, I go to bed feeling the same way. Okay, then we're gonna go to this C chord, which is going to trade between a C and an A minor. Okay? These are really friendly to switch between because these 2 fingers are staying exactly still. All you do is move your ring finger to that 3rd string note, 2nd fret, right? So that 3rd line, I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. And then we're going to go back to G for this last line and E minor, right? Hey there, baby. G, 2, 3, I can use just a little help. And then here we're going to go to D, and we're going to stay on D for 4 full measures, right? You can't start a fire, 3, 4, D. You can't start a fire without a C. This gun's for hire. A minor, just like before, C, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Okay, and then after the chorus, we're going to go back to effectively what we did in the intro and in the verse, which is just G and E minor. But that's all we need for the entire song, right? The only other part we'll have is this bridge, which is the same chords, just in a different order. It's going to be 1 measure of E minor, sit around getting older, to G. C, there's a joke here somewhere, and it's on me. Do that again, E minor to G, to C, then to D, right? And that's it. You do that twice, just 2 lines, and you repeat the verse and the chorus, and that's all you need. Now, the simplest strum I would recommend, I have a few written up in my practice notes here. I like doing a down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, right? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And the one tip I have is on your first strum, right, your 1 count, I would kind of tend to favor just the thicker strings of the chord that you're playing, right? You could just do just the bass note if you wanted to. You don't have to do that. I just think the thicker strings, a nice light strum, will sort of set up the rest of the strum to kind of have a bit more emphasis, right? That would sound like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play the verse here using this, okay? You see how it sounds. Just the first couple lines at least. Here we go, right? I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't looking but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I can use just a little help. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. There's guns for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Okay, that is a sort of campfire way to play this song. I have a full playthrough of the entire song using that exact approach, nice and slower than what I just did actually. Over on my website is a separate video if you want to access that and just use that to something to play along with and to practice with. I think that's a great first step with this song. Now let's level it up and look at some of the intermediate things we can do to spice things up. Okay, first up, in the intro and the beginning of the verse, Bruce Springsteen's recording, he's basically staying on a G more or less. The G bass note is just thumping along the whole time. But there is a little bit of a hint of right, this little movement which is happening here. This is a G add 6, right? The add 6 in a G major chord is just the note E. It's a major 6 above the G root note. All we're doing here, ring finger, pinky finger, 3rd frets of the thickest and thinnest string. I'm just adding that middle finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. Okay, it's a subtle change, but it sounds good, right? You can use that. And the other thing you can use is going from a C to an A minor 7. Now this is a bit easier to play actually, because all you're doing is just lifting up your ring finger, right? 5th string on the 3rd fret, you're just lifting it up for the A minor 7. You can use the A minor or the A minor 7. Either works. The other thing that this version does is uses a rhythm that is a bit more tricky. It's a 2-measure strumming pattern, right? Instead of doing a 4-count strum like I showed you before, we're going to do a down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And importantly, what we're going to do here is whenever we change chords, we're going to change on the and count just before the 1 or just after the 4. You can think of it the same way. So that would look like this. If I have my G and my G add 6, that would be a down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired, man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby. Now, one quick note, on the last line of the verse, we are going to drop down to E minor. If you listen to Bruce's recording, you can hear this. The bass note, hey there, baby, I can use just a little help. So that's the one time we're going to stay on E minor. Otherwise, the chorus is the same. We're just going to use that A minor 7 if we want to. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Okay, that is how you do it with that strum, with the pushed chord change, where you're sort of doing the chord change on the and count. You can add additional down or up strums wherever your hand is naturally going, right? You're going to be doing a constant down and up motion anyway. If you happen to engage the strings on one of those down strums that I have it written down, that's totally fine. Just make sure you keep your strumming groove, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and da da da. Okay, that's a few different just off-the-cuff improvisational strums that keep the groove and also always do the chord change on the up strum just before the 1 count. So I have a whole playthrough of that intermediate version on my website as well. It uses the G add 6, it uses the A minor 7, it uses that trickier strumming pattern. And that's all you need to play this entire song. Now, what I want to do here is show you how the vocal melody fits into things, right? If you want to combine the vocal melody with your strumming, learning the basic vocal melody is where you want to start. Okay, so I have this written up here in my practice notes. Now, the first thing you want to learn is this basic tab. And don't think of this as something that you'd play while strumming necessarily, right? It's more of a guideline. Just learn the notes, right? So I have it written up. In each measure, right, basically every 1st and 3rd measure, I have the chord that your left hand should be playing written up. So we have the G here, for example, right? That's where you put your left hand, and the melody notes are highlighted, right? I get up in the evening, back to G, and I ain't got nothing to say, okay? And then we do that again, and the second time we do it, the second part's gonna change. I come home in the morning. Now at the end of the second line here, notice how we're gonna have to put our pinky on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. I go to bed feeling the same way, okay? So the second line again, I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. The trick to learning this is don't sweat too much having to strum the full chord at the beginning. Just put your hand in that shape, strum some of the strings if you want lightly, but the melody is what's the most important part here, okay? The next part, C. I ain't nothing but tired. Same notes, different order here. Man, I'm just tired and bored with my... Back to G. Self, hey there, baby. I can use just a little help. Okay, then we go to this D. Now here how I do it is I do the bass note. You can't start a fire. Can't start a fire without a... Then to a C. This gun's for hire. The C is tricky because you have to take off your index finger. And then I put it on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string while keeping these 2 fingers where they are, right? A little bit awkward, but it works here. And then you play the open 2nd string. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. And you end on a G, okay? So that is the melody notes. These are in my practice notes as well. This is helpful just to learn. Just take the rhythm lightly. Don't worry about doing this while strumming just yet. Just memorize these notes, internalize them, hum along, sing along if you can. And once you have these under your control, you then can move on to what I'll teach in part 2 over on my website, whereas you're going to employ some strumming. And we're going to take some of the melody notes. We're going to move some around, we're going to remove some, but the whole point of that is to make them work with our strumming. And here's a tease of what that sounds like, right? So this is what it sounds like when you combine the melody with strumming. It's tremendously fun to do. I'll show you this in part 2 over on my website, but be sure to head over there. Get my practice notes for this. It has all this written out with diagrams and chord shapes and strumming patterns and tabs and everything. You'll be good to go. I'll link out to a lyric sheet I recommend, and you can see my playthroughs and part 2 where I'll teach you how to strum with this melody. But thanks all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I have a few other Bruce Springsteen songs as well. Check those out on my website, songnotes.net. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, my friends, and bye-bye.